Thanks for staying with us. Welcome to the news at 5 on Channels Television. I'm Joke Rogers. Here are the news and reports we're tracking for you at this hour. The chairman of the Presidential Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms Committee, Mr. Taiwo Yedili, has been speaking on the alleged discrepancies in the new tax laws scheduled to take effect on January 1. Mr. Yedili said the version of the tax law out in the public did not come from the committee set up by the House of Representatives. This comes as former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, the 2023 presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, and several civil society organizations called for the suspension of the implementation of the laws. A member of the House of Representatives, Abdul Samad Dasuki, recently raised concerns about what he described as discrepancies between the tax laws passed by the National Assembly and the version subsequently gazetted and made available to the public.
Yeah, let me help to make some very important clarifications. So generally, before you can say that there's a difference between what was gazetted and what was passed, we have what is gazetted, we don't have what was passed. So the official harmonized bills certified by the clerk, which the National Assembly sent to the President, we don't have the copy to compare, right? That's a fundamental issue that people need to be aware of. So only the lawmakers can say authoritatively, this is what we sent. And that what we sent, shouldn't be the House of Rep version, it shouldn't be the Senate version, it should be the harmonized version certified by the clerk. So even me, I can't say that I have it, right? Because I don't. I only just have what was presented to Mr. President to sign. The second important point, which will help our audience, is that what has been circulating and also widely reported by a lot of media organizations is actually, fake. So when I saw those things, you would imagine someone like me would take very keen interest, in something like that. So I reached out to one of the members of the committee that the House of Reps set up, and I said, these are some of the allegations. Let me even tell you the reason why I reached out. There's a reference in one of those materials to one section 41 subsection 8 that says you have to pay a deposit of 20%. And I know that particular provision is not in the final gazette, but it was in the draft gazette. So I reached out and the lawmaker said that they haven't even met. So some people decided they should write the report of the committee before the committee has met, and it has circulated everywhere. So I don't know whether it's useful, because to be honest, I don't want to speculate. What is out there in the media did not come from the committee set up by the House of Reps, and I think we should allow them do the investigation, because ultimately, I think this is not just about the tax reform laws. It's about our processes. How can we make those processes have those quality assurance?
A federal government delegation led by the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, has arrived in Port Harcourt, the River State capital, to begin a high-level inspection of key sites in the state. The officials, including the Minister of Environment, Balarabe Lawal, were received in the state by members of the Ogoni Mothers Union and other stakeholders from Ogoniland. They are part of a federal government team currently in the state, which also includes the Minister of Works, Dave Umahi, and the Director General of the National Oil Spill Detection and Response Agency, Chukwemeka Woke. Their visit will include a courtesy call on Governor Siminalayi Fubara, an inspection of ongoing work on the East-West Road, a visit to the Yola oil field spill site, and stops at the University of Environmental Technology, Ogoni, amongst other areas. The officials are also scheduled to meet with the Ogoni Dialogue Committee as part of efforts to address environmental remediation, infrastructure development, and security concerns in the area. Troops of Forward Operating Base Wukari under the 6th Brigade Nigerian Army Sector 3 Operation Wellstroke have arrested a notorious bandit leader alleged to be responsible for multiple kidnapping and armed robbery incidents along the Benue-Taraba axis. The arrest was carried out during a precision intelligence-driven operation at Vase Community, Ukum local government area of Benue State. A press statement by the Lieutenant Mohammed Umar, 6th Brigade Nigerian Army Public Relations Officer, says the operation resulted in the arrest of Fidelis Gayama, a high-value suspect long sought by the security agencies. The statement further states that preliminary investigations revealed that the suspect is closely linked to Dogo, a wanted armed group leader, and is believed to be the ringleader of a criminal network that has terrorized travelers and communities along the Kente-Wukari Road and adjoining border areas between Benue and Taraba states. As part of efforts to secure the nation's highways, the Nigeria Police Force has commenced a 24-hour patrol for the Yuletide, addressing journalists in Jere along with the Abuja-Kaduna Road. The Federal Capital Territory Commissioner of Police, Mr. Miller Nantawaye, says the continuous patrol is aimed at ensuring the safety of motorists all through the Yuletide and beyond. He was joined by the Kaduna State Commissioner of Police, Mr. Mohammed Rabiu, who warned motorists against reckless driving.
The safety of motorists and passengers moving in and out of the Federal Capital Territory is the reason for this joint patrol by the FCT and Kaduna State Police Commands. The leadership of the police in the two areas have deployed operatives along the Abuja-Kaduna Highway in collaboration with other security agencies. They are assuring motorists of adequate security.
We have come out to let Nigerians know, especially Nigerians living within the Federal Capital Territory and those from Kaduna State, and the people that will be plying these routes generally, that we have decided to do the needful. The needful we have decided to do is to come out and re-energize or work on the psyche of our men on the road.
2 years, we have never recorded incidents in our jurisdiction in Kaduna State. Right from before Jere and up to Kaduna, we have never recorded any incidents.
Issues of fake news about kidnapping and insecurity were addressed as plans to extend the joint patrol to other states are highlighted.
The entire Nigeria connects Abuja, being the center of the nation. So we will synergize with Niger by the grace of God. We'll synergize with Kogi. We'll also synergize with Nasarawa State.
And I want to assure the motorists and other road users that this road is safe. They should ignore all these social media posting, implying that the road is not safe, this and that. And we want to warn them that they should desist from doing that.
Motorists and passengers are happy with the increased presence of policemen along the routes.
New on the road is a reassurance that maybe the country is trying to revitalize the security system for us to achieve the desired goal. So it's a welcome idea.
I saw some policemen vehicle patrolling from what's the name of this place? From Jere, so the road is safe.
Beyond the Yuletide, the police are assuring all road users of sustained patrol across the nation to ensure improved safety.
The survival of democracy is largely dependent on an effective coordination of all the moving parts. To enthrone good governance, stakeholders must work tirelessly to eliminate all threats to democratic principles, to reduce insecurity, corruption, and all acts inimical to progress. This formed the submission of stakeholders and advocates of good governance at a forum in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, where they called for sustained collective action to strengthen and transform Nigeria's democratic system, emphasizing the need for accountability, institutional reforms, and deeper adherence to good governance in the democratic process. Our Oyo State correspondent, Bukola Riowo, reports.
Human rights activists, pro-democracy groups, journalists, and other stakeholders gather in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, to discuss the future of democracy in Nigeria. They are aware of the fault lines, but more concerned that they are getting wider by the day.
So we thought we can bring together people working in civil society organizations, think tank leaders from across the continent to come together and think about practical solutions to fixing democracy on the continent. So what we did eventually was we look at the think tanks in each country, the best think tank, and identify someone in those organizations to contribute a chapter to this book. So this book, in effect, is an agenda from think tank people, some civil society organizations, giving their own take on how to fix democracy on the continent.
Over the past 5 years, democracy across Africa has experienced an unhealthy mix of growth and setbacks, characterized by electoral violence, corruption, constitutional manipulations, and a host of military takeovers in parts of West and Central Africa.
As we've seen around the continent, democracy is being challenged. We just had an attempted coup in Benin Republic. Nigeria is surrounded by 3 or 4 countries that have military rule. So it's a book looking at the future of democracy on the continent. What do we need to pay attention to? What do we need to think about? Yeah. And so it's timely because over the next few years, next few election cycles, it's important that we really are serious about reflecting on what democracy means to us and how we must ensure it delivers so we don't have more countries under military rule.
This forum focuses on the future of democracy in Africa with voices from Africa's leading think tank. Speakers note that Nigeria in particular is grappling with critical challenges such as insecurity and corruption.
People think that insecurity is critical to conversation about democracy, that actually the next election will be determined to a large extent by conversation about security. So I just think for those two things, the willingness to fix the issues and more so focus on insecurity are two of the critical solutions being floated today.
The belief that the governance system in Nigeria remains constrained by challenges such as vote buying, low voter turnout, political intimidation, among others, in spite of a constitutional democracy anchored on periodic elections.
What the media can do to help fund, sponsor, invest in investigative journalism that exposes the problem. We shouldn't only report when America makes noise. No, the media should send. Most times, human life in Nigeria is just a statistic. 40 killed in Plateau, just boys again, 120 dead. Most people don't know the story behind those figures. So the media should do more in uncovering the killings, the nature of the killings, the brutality of these killings. As for the country itself, it's a political will. Any problem the government wants to solve, the government solves it.
A compendium was later launched at a forum titled The Future of Democracy in Africa, which explores the continent's democratic journey, emerging threats, and pathways for reform. Bukola Orio, Channels Television News.
The Niger State Governor, Umaru Bago, has received the remaining 130 abducted students and staff of St. Mary's Catholic School, Papiri, Agwara local government area of the state. The National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, represented by Major General Adamu Laka, handed over the students to the state government. He says since the abduction of the children, all hands had been on deck to ensure their rescue and safe return. He reiterated the unwavering commitments of the security agencies to the protection of the citizens and the country at large. Governor Bago, who was emotional while receiving the remaining students and staff, thanked President Bola Tinubu and the National Security Advisor for the prompt action in rescuing the children. The Ogun State Government and the International Fund for Agricultural Development have trained and empowered 300 smallholder rice farmers on climate resilience methods in 4 selected local government areas. The Permanent Secretary in the State Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security says that the farmers were given improved seedlings, fertilizers, herbicides, and the necessary economic practices needed for survival. About 1,500 tons of rice is expected to be harvested by the smallholder rice farmers.
Ogun State is one of the leading rice-producing states in the country, and the state seems to be scaling up its efforts towards improved production of the essential staple food through necessary collaboration with the International Fund for Agricultural Development. In the current effort, 300 smallholder farmers, grouped into about 30 clusters from 4 local government areas of the state, have been trained in modern agronomic practices, especially climate-resilient methods of farming at different demonstration farms. This, the state government says, is to ensure food sufficiency and employment generation, among others.
We give them climate-resilient rice seeds. The variety is Faro 44. We also give them bags of fertilizer. For this acre, they were given 2 bags of NPK 15-15-15 fertilizer and 1 bag of urea. You can see that the rice are well formed, and we are hoping for a big harvest.
The farmers have also been linked to agro-processors and off-takers for easy access to markets.
One of the things that we have also done is to link them up with agro-processors who will pick their rice, the harvest, and then mill it to bring out the rice. Why we are doing this is because we don't want any of their harvest to go wasted. In actual fact, we've had a memorandum of understandings signed with these agro-processors, and they are committed to picking the rice of our farmers whenever they are ready for harvesting. So it's a back-to-back thing. We are not leaving anything for granted. We are not taking anything for granted. We are not leaving anything off. We are giving them all the necessary assistance and backing that they need to have.
The farmers, while appreciating the International Fund for Agricultural Development and the Ogun State Agro-Industrial Processing Zones, SAPZ, however, share their challenges and call on the governments to address them.
That is currently with the best. So bed is number 1. So the other one, that will be, climate, as in rainfall. But then, that is why we normally plant our rice at waterlog area. So I think that one is erased. The third one, now I can understand that we are having a bed scaled chemical, but it is too expensive. It's almost unaffordable for us.
We just believe that this thing is okay by us. We have learned a lot, that we should increase our level of production, and possibly by this time next year, we should be able to increase our tempo.
With this experience at the Demonstration Farm Center, these farmers are expected to take steps further towards increasing the hectares of land for improved production.
To health matters, the Lagos State government has taken a major leap in emergency healthcare delivery with the official launch of the Lashma Aid Emergency Services Program, a state-led intervention designed to ensure that no resident is denied life-saving care due to cost, delay, or confusion. The Special Advisor on Health, Dr. Kemi Ogunyemi, who was at the event, describes it as a historic milestone that strengthens Lagos State's commitment to universal health coverage and responsive governance.
Medical practitioners in Lagos converge on GRA Ikeja for the official launch of the Ilera Eko emergency services.
Today marks the beginning of a new dawn in the health insurance space.
The Lagos State Health Management Agency, which is championing universal health coverage in the state, is here to institutionalize emergency medical stabilization for insured and vulnerable residents under the Lagos State Health Insurance Scheme.
I am pleased to say that as we gather here today, all key stakeholders, hospitals, ambulance service providers, regulators, and our internal emergencies team have been duly sensitized and are ready to kickstart Lashma Aid. You would, of course, want to know that our scope of coverage extends to 48 hours of in-facility treatment necessary to stabilize active Ilera Eko enrollees as well as vulnerable residents. Lashma Aid is not just about ambulances and approvals. It is about saving critical minutes and preserving lives. It is about ensuring that in moments of crisis, our Ilera Eko enrollees and the vulnerable of Lagos State are not left unattended to due to financial barriers, confusion, panic, or fear, whether at the scene of an emergency, at home, or even in the office. Our swift response can protect their lives, as the adage says, a stitch in time saves 9.
Come January, it will be very mandatory that you have a social health insurance at the least. And we don't want to use any form of cohesion, but it will be a carrot and stick. The governor has mandated that we make this happen. So we are relying on everybody to come along and support the cause.
The government says Lashma Aid will serve as a landmark intervention in safeguarding lives during medical emergencies.
With the introduction of Lashma Aid, every public servant, irrespective of cadre, duty, post, or location, together with their families and our pensioners, now have the assurance that in moments of emergency, help will come promptly, professionally, and without the burden on financial hardship. We no longer need to panic or run from pillar to post in search of funds during medical emergencies. This is the true essence of responsive, compassionate, and people-centered governance.
The Lagos State Health Scheme Law, LSHS Law, enacted by the Lagos State House of Assembly, was designed to ensure that all residents of Lagos State have access to quality health care without undue financial hardship. Lashma Aid stands as a clear, practical, and impactful expression of the objectives of this law, translating legislative intent into decisive life-saving action.
The Special Advisor on Health, Dr. Kemi Ogunyemi, explains that with Lashma Aid, residents can access emergency care through the universal emergency numbers 112 or 767 or the dedicated Lashma toll-free line to prevent sudden death.
The launch of Lashma Aid has clearly demonstrated that Lashma is truly prepared and ready to provide emergency medical support to Ilere co-enrollees and the vulnerable, as well as improve medical emergency services in Lagos State. This is also a testament to achieving universal health coverage in Lagos State. Our workforce expansion process, following Mr. Governor's approval, will commence early next year with the employment of 60 nurses who will provide critical medical care to patients in emergency situations and 20 bike riders who will support emergency response efforts. I hereby launch Lashma Aid.
The launch of Lashma Aid marks another strategic step by the Lagos State government towards strengthening financial risk protection, improving access to emergency healthcare services, and advancing universal health coverage for all Lagosians.
Business news. Dangote Petroleum Refinery has announced a reduction in the minimum order quantity for petrol purchases, cutting it from 500,000 litres to 250,000 litres. The company says the new threshold applies to both existing and new customers. Under the revised arrangement, petrol is priced at a gantry price of 699 naira per litre, with buyers also eligible for additional volume-based discounts. The refinery says customers can now purchase the reduced volume with access to a 10-day credit facility subject to a bank guarantee. Dangote Petroleum Refinery notes that free delivery to customers' stations will begin soon, and inquiries can be made through the refinery's official contact numbers and email address. After 25 consecutive weeks of gains, Nigeria's gross foreign exchange reserves have declined to $45.21 billion after dropping by $230.74 million week on week as at December 17. According to the latest report from the central bank, the halt, which comes after 2 months of steady upward movement of the country's external buffer, is largely attributed to the government's settlement of international debt obligations. The last recorded decline was on October the 8th when the reserves dropped to $42.36 billion. Meanwhile, traders say forex demand from local corporates remained elevated this month, driven by imports to meet festive season consumer demand and possible stockpiling of inputs for the first quarter production. The Securities and Exchange Commission has directed capital market operators to renew their registration between January 1 and 31st of January next year. According to the SEC, the move is part of ongoing efforts to modernize the regulation of Nigeria's capital market. The Director General of the SEC, who made the announcement, says the move reflects the regulator's commitment to faster, more transparent and technology-driven regulatory processes. He also mentioned that the Commission plans to commence electronic receipt and processing of registration applications in the first quarter of 2026, which is aimed at speeding up approvals and reducing manual procedures. That's the news at 5. Thank you for watching. I'm Joker Rogers.